Hello and welcome to Endor Model Railway. I'm Jonathan. This is how I fitted a DCC decoder to my N-gauge Dapol A4, Mallard in this case. I bought the loco in 2022, but its tooling is from 2012, so I imagine the process is the same for all production runs in that period. I'd bought a Dapol N-gauge A1 Flying Scotsman at about the same time and found that mechanically they look the same. I don't have a Dapol N-gauge A3, but presumably it's going to be the same as the A1s and the A4s. The first thing I do with new locos that aren't DCC fitted is to run them in on DC to confirm that they work, and if not, I can rule out any mistakes on my part. In this case, I did the full running in for the loco, 30 minutes forward, then 30 minutes backward. To access the DCC decoder socket, the instructions say to simply pull the tender body away, but that didn't work for me. I found that I had to sort of roll it off. There's a drive shaft from the tender to the boiler. It's designed to disconnect if it's bent too far. This had happened on my A1 and I found it hard to reconnect it, so I tried to keep the whole loco as level as possible to avoid drive shaft disconnection. I didn't realise to start with, but it did disconnect, so I'll show how to reconnect that later in the video. The tender body can't be lifted completely off while the drive shaft is in situ. There wasn't much space to work with, so I used tweezers to remove the blanking chip and to install the DCC chip. I'm not sure if there's a right way to identify which way up a DCC chip should go. I generally assume that the side to which the pins are attached is the bottom. The DCC socket is 6-pin, so needs a 6-pin decoder. A Gauge Master DCC 93 Ruby 2 decoder fits, but in this loco I fitted a Dapol Imperium 5. I had tried a Dapol Imperium 4 in Flying Scotsman, but it hadn't fitted, so I don't think it would fit in an A4 either. As with the A1, it took a bit of fiddling to align the pins at this angle using the tweezers. It took longer than I've shown here. The tender body clips back on easily, but in this video I tried running the loco first, which is when I found out that the drive shaft had disconnected. First I tried pushing the tender and main body together to reconnect the drive shaft, but I couldn't line it up properly. There also wasn't enough space to get a good look into the boiler, so I pulled the drive shaft out from its tender socket and removed the tender body. With the tender body removed, I could see the orientation of the socket that the drive shaft plugs into in the boiler. The protruding parts of the shaft need to go through the gaps in the socket. I used tweezers to align the drive shaft and then pushed it in with my finger until it clicked. I found it fiddly and it took a few minutes longer than I've shown here. Once in place, it's got a fair bit of play. Next, I clipped the tender body back on and started to align the other end of the drive shaft with its tender socket. I didn't get a clear recording of it, but I needed to rotate the tender socket a bit to align the gaps with the protrusions on the drive shaft. It's quite easy to turn with tweezers. Gently pushing the two halves of the loco together, the drive shaft clipped in.